Sean, thank you so much for joining the Pay It Forward podcast. How are you doing?
Great, Doug. Thanks ever so much. Thanks for having me. Delighted to be here. Pay It Forward.
Yeah, thank you. After the namesake, I guess.
Mr. Forward is here.
Yeah. Now, Sean, with that in mind, could you please tell our viewers a bit more about you and Payable, please?
Yeah, sure. So Payable is a payments company that allows merchants to accept payments.
Yeah.
Our core business is focused on Visa, MasterCard, American Express acceptance.
Yeah.
But we've got a very wide range of alternative payment methods that allow merchants to send and receive funds from across Europe and around the world. We generally focus on high volume businesses that are selling via the internet, but we also have some really cool technology coming through on the fintech side as far as our banking and our cards are concerned as well. So we've got a whole suite of payment solutions, Doug.
It's absolutely incredible because merchants are really at the forefront of this payments journey. You know, we're seeing them have to, as you said, take the staples, but then also look into these new payment methods and keep up with the trends that their customers sometimes don't even know themselves how they want to pay.
Exactly.
It's a difficult position to be in, but I'm glad that they have a partner like Payable to kind of see that through. And also for our viewers, could you give us a bit of background to yourself?
Yeah, sure. I've been in fintech or payments for 25 years plus, probably now. I sort of was happily stumbled into it as an entrepreneurial type of beginning. I was working at the very early stage of internet or IP-based, so internet-based transactions. The alternative in those days was more of a carbon copy transaction that took the embossing of the card. But what we did is that we had the ability to accept a transaction online.
Yeah.
And back in those days, it was an incredible leap to give that type of technology. And what I've done over my sort of journey really within financial technology is to see really where the next thing is within the payment ecosystem. And I've been involved with prepaid cards, debit cards, Visa, MasterCard issuing, often with acquiring as well as the acceptance of different cards. I've been involved in different businesses which I've built up and sold, and was delighted to be able to sell my previous company, PowerCard, to Payable, and be part of the Payable journey, which is
still be a part of it.
Yes, exactly. And I've got to say, it's the highlight of my career so far. Great team, really good bunch of people with a really clear vision. Yeah. I'm really delighted. Payable is a company that focuses mainly on merchant acceptance. So we provide Visa, MasterCard, American Express, but we also provide a very wide range of alternative payment methods across the board through Europe and around the world, really focusing on merchants, allowing them to accept and also send payments back to their customers. We also have a range of banking solutions that we provide, as well as cards, and we've got some very, very cool point of sale terminals that are really doing well within the market at the moment.
Oh, that's brilliant to hear, because it's so often the talk is just about e-money, which we will be talking about later, but to hear about the fact that you have that in-person experience too, which we can't forget. It is so important to a lot of merchants. I'm glad you guys have your foot in that door as well. But also, Sean, I need to know a bit more about yourself. We found out in the intro a bit about your role at Payable, but can you tell us a bit more about the Sean Forward?
Yeah, sure. So I was formerly a PE teacher and stumbled into payments and probably fintech. It was before fintech was coined as a name, over 25 years ago. And we were involved at that point with an interesting company called DataBank that was providing some of the very early internet-enabled transactions, so IP type of transactions. This company did really well. We ended up doing a reverse takeover on a NASDAQ company in the US, which was just an amazing time. And I've been involved very much on the entrepreneurial side of setting up and being involved in payment companies. The last company that I was involved in was PowerCard. I was the founder of that, and that was purchased by Payable about 2.5 years ago. And then I had the amazing opportunity that Ugna asked me to come on board and to focus on the UK, which I was thrilled to do, and just having probably the best time of my career so far, Doug. It's been fantastic.
Before we get any further, I think we've got to understand EMIs, or electronic money institutions.
Sure.
And they've played such a huge role, especially here in the UK, with the kind of the fintech scene. But for our viewers, just to kind of keep us on the same level playing field, could you please explain what an EMI means?
Yes, sure. So an EMI is a form of regulation. It is standard across Europe, and it's a particular type of financial services, if we talk specifically about the UK, which is regulated by the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority. So within an EMI, electronic money, the concept is that there's a range of different services that you can offer as a corporation within the EMI. The main is holding as an institution electronic money. The way that that's defined, there's quite a wide remit of what electronic money is, but basically is when funds are held on an account that need to be immediately made available to a customer. Yeah. That's basically what e-money is. That can be used for cards, so maybe a prepaid card or a debit card, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, obviously the different, these are all forms of e-money.
Absolutely amazing. So with that in mind, it is quite difficult to get an EMI license here in the UK for obvious reasons. It's one of the most heavily regulated industries in the world. We're dealing with people's livelihoods. Congratulations on getting your UK EMI license. Can you take our viewers through the process and what it means for Payable?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that. It was a real team effort across the organisation, and we're delighted. Just to sort of set the scene here. Yeah. Payable has been working in the UK for more than 10 years, right, with the passporting regime, which was previous. When Brexit took place, then obviously at that point the UK decided that they were bringing the financial regulation in-house to the FCA, so the Financial Conduct Authority, and as part of that process, they were taking applications from companies that were previously passporting into the UK, but then had to directly get regulated in the UK themselves. So I just wanted to set the scene there, just so that this isn't totally new to us. It's sort of the next step in our. You've
been established, but exactly. You're now really
focused.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, on the UK. And then as far as that process is concerned, you have to put an application to the FCA, which outlines your business case, your business plan. It looks at things like safeguarding of funds, which is absolutely imperative within the financial industry. You've got things like governance, so how the company is put together, how it's managed, how it's looked after within the day-to-day organisation. And there's various aspects of consumer duty, for example. There's lots of elements within the regulation which is set out, and the process is basically demonstrating to the FCA that you as an organisation can do those things in a very sensible and straightforward way as far as the regulation is concerned.
Well, it's a fascinating point you've brought up, in the fact that we're starting to see organizations that aren't directly linked to finance. You brought up football clubs, for instance, getting into this payment scene because of this exciting new ecosystem that we find ourselves in. So that actually leads me to another point, in the fact that we've just gone through the UK's 6th anniversary of open banking, which is really the kind of impetus behind opening up finance to other organizations. With this 6th year anniversary, how much of an achievement is this of the UK? Is this something that, as a nation, we can look back on and say, okay, this was actually a good movement, and how do we spring forward from that?
From a personal point of view, I think open banking is very exciting, and it still has a way to go, but I think it's going to be one of those technologies that sort of seeps into our daily lives, and will obviously with Apple coming out this year with the different ways that they're providing different types of open banking, not necessarily on the payment side of things, but on the data sharing elements within their wallet and within Apple Pay. As soon as big data, some of the big tech companies start embedding these types of things in our daily interactions, that will be that I think will be when it will really have arrived. I think that we've been looking really a lot of it's been infrastructure stuff. A lot of these things take a long time to embed and make sure that the day-to-day operation is in place before the big tech companies can really leverage that and go crazy as far as giving it into the consumer day-to-day experience. I think I think it's a really good good platform, and good service. I think that things do take time, but the cost benefits of it will definitely continue to grow.
I think we need to understand on this podcast what are some of the key benefits behind a central bank digital currency. There is a lot of talk, there's a lot of bluster. So would you be able to outline just a couple of points as to the benefits of a CBDC ecosystem? Yeah,
sure. So let's maybe just dig a bit deeper on defining what it is, or what I see it being, and the Bank of England see. Basically, we have cash in our day-to-day lives that we spend in note form, but there is no digital version of that. All of these types of exciting fintech type of methodologies that we've been talking about still basically work on traditional rails. So you've got credit cards, which is still the biggest user or network as far as transactions are concerned. Oh, wow. You've still got the bank accounts, those are still in place. So even open banking is going between traditional rails. And really the way I see the digital currencies, or the central bank digital currencies, is really solidifying what the blockchain technology is, the breaking edge of what's happening there, but solidifying into mainstream government-backed digital currency. So the ability to interact directly with individuals rather than it having to go through a bank or any sort of institution. The transaction can be directly between two individuals rather than via a third party in effect.
Fascinating. Now, we've discussed one of the largest kind of almost buzzword levels, but I was so intrigued to get your perspective on it because I know that you're actually a big part of the CBDC project. Am I right?
I work, or I'm on the group at the Payment Association for Digital Currencies.
Incredible.
And one of the topics that we discuss as part of that group is very much around consulting back to the Bank of England on how a central bank digital currency can work, how who it can affect, how you can interact with it, how organisations will interact with it. So I'm on a working group that advises and gives information back to the Bank of England to see how it could really work as a real item in people's everyday lives.
It's brilliant to think that we are actually now at the point where the technology is going faster than the imagination of how to use it.
Yeah.
And the fact that finance is being a part of it makes it even better for myself. Well, with that in mind, then, I think that has covered everything on today's podcast. And it's been utterly fascinating thinking where we're going to be at the end of this year. And what that means for consumers. To have a recap, we looked at how electronic money institutions are going to change finance going forward. We looked at how CBDCs are going to actually enable consumers, without knowing it, to be able to send money far cheaper. And then for the institutions, what that means for them as well. Then also with artificial intelligence, what that's going to do in the future too. So Sean, I've got to say a massive thank you.
Well, thank you, Doug. That was fantastic. We didn't even get into aspects like the omniverse and where those guys are going, and different types of sport and football. We started on that as a vertical. I mean, those things in themselves have still got a long way to go. And the interaction and fan engagement that you've got there with the payment technologies is just really fascinating. But thanks for having me, Doug. I've had a great time, and
it's been great
really
fun.
nice to meet you.
And Sean, before we go, could you please tell our viewers a bit more about Payabl and where they can find out more about Payabl's journey?
Yeah, well, payabl.com is always the good place to start. We're very active on social medias as well. You can always get hold of me at LinkedIn. My details are there. But just as a reminder, Payabl is a fintech company that looks to enable merchants to generally accept payments. So we provide Visa, MasterCard, American Express, different types of card, but we also allow you to do different bank transfers, as well as a very wide range of alternative payment methods that allow you to transact locally with European, but also customers from around the world. We've got different banking products that we can enable merchants to have access to, as well as different cards and different payment schemes.
Superb. Sean, thank you very much, and goodbye.
Thank you.